Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome to day 103 of Brighter Shores. So today, we are back to tentacle mining, where we're doing the rock with the little tentacle thing here, so that we have no downtime on the stones, while mostly trying to train combat, but hey, we need that 262 mining at some point, so best to get it in now. We might actually be able to get all the way to max too, while doing the tentacles, as the next tentacle is post 200, and we're going to be staying on it long enough that we probably can get it up. Starting next week, I do want to start focusing on some things that aren't just combat, though. But since this is the last day that will be around for a little while, I figured, I might as well, just to kind of finish it out a little bit. But, yeah, my current schedule is today. We're probably not going too long. Probably just aim for, like, 170. I'm still going to have to stay on tentacles even longer than that. However, at least then I can, like, semi-AFK them, because we should be strong enough by then. So the goal is probably to get, like, 170-ish. But then, I still have so much stuff I need to pack still. So, I'm going to be busy most of the day on that. Probably grab dinner as soon as we go finish out the stream and then just pack pretty much the rest of the day. So that the floor people can go do their thing over the next few days. I will probably do one last late night stream tonight, since I need to stay up earlier anyways to go record something else. So we are probably going to do one very short, like hour and a half stream a little bit later tonight, aka like Monday morning as the Monday stream. But Tuesday will be our first day ever that we will not stream at all in any way, shape, or form, Brighter Shores, or really anything that day. As, yeah, I'll be completely away by that point, and I will have no way to do so. So Tuesday will be our first day after our 104-day streak. Will finally be destroyed by Tuesday. It's not that big a deal, though. Obviously, yeah, at some point we were going to not stream a day. But it took 104 days, technically 105, until we didn't. Yeah, Tuesday will be the first day we don't stream. Late Wednesday, I should be back. So it won't be at like the normal noonish time on Wednesday, but at some point later on Wednesday, I probably should have everything reset back up. Hopefully they're done by then. There is a chance they take longer than 2 days, but so if we're not around Wednesday night, that's why. Maybe they took an extra day or two. But, yeah, I'll be leaving after today, so we'll do one last hurrah stream later tonight. Pretty much right after midnight, an after dark stream, no. Just kind of messing around a little bit, saying goodbye, and, yeah, we'll be back after a few days then. And all that time, I'll still be grinding off stream, obviously. I just won't have any kind of setup to be able to stream with, or do videos on, or anything, really. I'll still be grinding on, like, the Steam Deck. As long as the internet as long as the hotel assumably has any amount of internet that isn't awful. I really hope they don't upcharge. I haven't actually checked that yet. As long as it's not like too much, I will be getting it though, obviously. Otherwise, I'd have to run it off my phone, which would probably work, but it'd be very, very, very slow. But as long as it's good enough to work, I might just run it off my phone if I really, really had to. Anyways, hello Isabel, hello Vernaus, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope all you guys have been well. Oh yeah, we have a pretty basic poll this time. Only a choice between two, oddly enough. When training skills, do you prefer methods that focus on one at a time or multiple at once? AK, what we're doing right now is technically multiple at once, of course. We're doing mining and combat. But do you prefer just focusing on one in isolation or multi-skilling? I tend to do a bit of both, though I definitely would lean if I had to do one or the other. Honestly, I prefer multi-skilling more. As nice as it is to camp like a single skill, I do like instances where you can get multiple together, especially when it's more efficient too. Though even if it's not more efficient too, I kind of just like gaining multiple at once rather than just only one. It feels like more progress even if it isn't more progress. In the case of what we're doing now, it is indeed more progress. But there are situations where obviously it's like neutral if you do or don't. But this is one situation where I think we're getting about 120, 130% value compared if we only mined andesite compared if we only mine tentacles. Like, both of these are around 60% value of how much we're getting per hour, like 60, 70%, which doesn't sound good, but then you combine them both together compared to just doing one in isolation at 100%, then we're getting at least 20, 30, 40% more value compared to doing them independently, which is not too bad. It's not like a huge increase, but it's definitely helpful. The one that it mostly helps is mining, oddly enough. There's a really pretty notorious wait time on these things, where if you're doing all 6 of them, you have to wait for, gosh, I think like 12 seconds. We timed it once, I forget what it is off the top of my head. But you gotta wait a good while before you're allowed to go and mine them again. But of course, doing it this way, they are always immediately respawned. Even when we go bank, they will be respawned as well. So we'll be good to go. But yeah, we're finally pretty much hit our like 200 all grind. We're starting to get all to like the mega section of grind walls, but honestly, I've still been enjoying it. I've actually been enjoying post 200 a lot more than I thought I would, because there's still so many objectives we had to hit. I thought after like 200 all, I would maybe burn out a little bit, but honestly, I've still been going just as hard. The streams have been a little bit shorter recently, just because I've been having to do more stuff IRL. But as far as my motivation to play, it hasn't stopped at all after 200 all. As hello, Yusef. Welcome, welcome. Hope all's been well. The EXP pots. I know. I don't actually do EXP pots while doing this. It's mostly because of inventory space. If they were equipable, I would be. But I made a pledge like a month or two ago that until they end up doing that, I'm not going to be juggling potions on the ground. So even though it's slightly worse not having a perpetual 5% potion, I refuse to do so until we have equipable pots, even if we're losing 5% per hour. It's likely a little bit less than that because you have to put into account the potion drinking time, as there is 0 downtime with this method. So the entire duration that you're drinking a potion is XP waste, meaning that it's closer to like a 3 or 4% potion. However, yes, it is slightly better if we were juggling a 5% potion this entire time. I just can't be bothered to juggle a 5% potion this entire time. So we're just not. Same reason we're not dropping the heal potion when we bank, as we could get an additional resource each time. But once again, for the same reason, I will not be juggling those either. So hello, Miss Insane Witch. Welcome, welcome. Hope all's been well. Oh yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing a Gems of War stream tonight. But I might be doing one for this weekend event. Hopefully there's like a weekend event going on. Because I won't be able to stream at all on Monday or Tuesday, like during the day or anything. But I'll hopefully be back by Wednesday. Which means, given that the events tend to happen on like Fridays in that game, Friday night I might end up doing a stream for it then. I don't think we have Vault Weekend this weekend. We might. I'll need to go double check. Forget what we have. As long as it's stuff that we can farm, we'll probably go do it. Since we're not doing one tomorrow. I should so hopefully get the video out. Oh, is it Vault Weekend? Perfect. Yeah, I'll do that this Friday then. Oh, that's perfect, perfect. Yeah, we'll do a Vault Event weekend then. Stream. I haven't streamed that in like months now. We haven't streamed a single Vault Event weekend since Brighter Shores has come out. So we haven't done one in like 3 months. Like, I've still been doing them, but you know, I haven't streamed one in 3 months. Or technically 4 months since the last one ended up rolling around. But yeah, we'll definitely have to do that this weekend. Or, you know, next week's weekend, not this exact weekend right now. Yep, 163. But yeah, I think our goal for today is to get 170 combat during this stream. Then I'll grab dinner, then I'll finish the packing. As I still have a good, like, 6+ hours of packing I still gotta do. It takes a lot longer than you would think. But that's getting there. I might need to go buy another box or something, because I'm actually starting to run out of storage space to even put everything away in. Oh, by the way, the audio issue we had the other day has been fixed now. I know on the recording end it was fine. But any audio issue I had on my end has officially been 100% fixed now, so I do hear it normally now. There's that one streamer who was acting up really, really weirdly. Luckily, it didn't actually affect the stream, but my experience of hearing it was so weird. But, yeah, that's been fixed. It was mostly due to the Windows 11 update. Today, woodcutting pet, did you get it or me? Because I actually don't have membership anymore, so I can't even get it. We mentioned that yesterday. We finally stopped our membership for Old School RuneScape. So if I do end up playing some in the background, which I haven't since it ended a couple days ago or 2 days ago. But if we do, it's going to be Castle Wars tickets, so I actually won't be able to get the beaver pet. At least not for a while. Because we don't have membership anymore. I'm mostly waiting until they figure out what they're doing with their corporate greed. And once they figure that out, maybe I'll buy it again. But until they do some kind of mega discount, or bring it down from like the 40% increase from last year, I'm probably not renewing it for quite a while. Like the absolute earliest I would maybe do it is Leagues, or when Sailing comes out. But I'm pretty sure Sailing's like next year, not this year. So maybe it comes out this year, I'm not sure. But nope, we're all in Brighter Shores now. Haven't touched RuneScape in like 2 days now. Why not Bond? I don't have a main account that I can farm bonds off of. I do have a few spare bonds, but I'm saving them more so for things like next year's league and stuff like that. I don't have enough bonds to like perpetually keep the account going. As I don't have a main. I only have a max hardcore and I forgot. I was gonna leave this up so we can see our progress over time. I'm not sure if we're gonna get that much progress or that many upgrades. But yeah, I don't currently have a main account to go farm gold off of. I only have a maxed hardcore and a defense pure skiller. And a defense pure skiller can pretty much only make money from doing skilling activities, which have been nerfed into the ground because they only care about PVM. And the hardcore needs all the money on it, so it can't be spending bonds on it. Because even though it does have a little bit of excess cash, it is way too expensive to try to buy bonds on an Iron Man account compared to a main. As they're scaled based on main economy, not on Iron Man economy. How would I farm a bond if I was still on a main? I would probably just spam Raise 3. Or just run Tombs of a Mascot. Technically, if I really wanted a bond farming account, you could probably make it in a few months. You don't need that many stats to hyper farm Tombs of a Mascot. Like, it only takes about a month and a half to AFK max stats. And then after that, you just need some basic gear. Even like 1 mil worth of gear could still get it done to a decent degree. Like, you can easily run 300s with max stats and 1 mil worth of gear. Or a few mil worth of gear. So far, I never have in the main game, but they're pretty straightforward. I was running 700s 2 leagues ago, and they seemed pretty straightforward. I've only ran 150 on the hardcore, but that's mostly because I didn't want it to die. And it was also my first experience doing it in the main game. But I'm pretty confident, even if I didn't play the game for months, and AFK'd an account over a month and a half to have max stats, we could get a account to do 300 TOAs in probably, like 3 months tops. Probably less. I'm not sure what the money per hour is from that, but I'm pretty sure as long as you don't get super unlucky, every 10 hours is basically a bond. Probably even less than that. It really comes down to RNG on a drop, because every single drop is worth more than a bond. And one singular drop is worth like 3 to 5 years of membership. Whereas the average drop is like a bond or 2. Would you sacrifice Gems of War or your hardcore if you had to choose between one or the other? I don't know, both accounts are pretty progressed. Technically, the Gems of War account has way more time, though. The Gems of War account is at like 16,000 hours, whereas the hardcore is at like 7,000 or 8,000 hours. So the hardcore is actually way less progressed, at least time-wise. As it's less than half as much time. But I've also been doing it for way less. It's only been going for 2 years, whereas the other thing's been going for like a decade. And of course our Brighter Shores account's been going for, what, 1,300 hours? Somewhere around there? What's our time at right now? We're at 1,300-ish almost. Which means for it to be able to be the same as my max hardcore, we'd have to play about 5 times as much as we have right now. Which means we only played 1/5 of the amount we need to get as much time as the max hardcore has on this. Which is kind of crazy to think about. Because that means it'd be there by about the end of this year then, at this current rate. And by then, gosh, we'd have so many 500s probably. Definitely a bare minimum 300 all. A combat level of like 1,000 something. Stuff like that. We should be getting a Q&A this week on the new combat changes as well. And assumably, if they do it while I'm around, I will go and maybe do like a live reaction kind of thing. I won't have it on stream like we did last time. I'll just kind of react to things. I just kind of make mention of things as they happen. I'm not going to have it like on screen or anything. Or the audio. Just kind of mentioning what happens in the play-by-play. Kind of like what we did for the last Q&A. Where I didn't have the audio or the visual at all on screen. I just simply did the play-by-play what was going on. But we'll probably do that for the PvP rework Q&A officially by the dev team. Because they're doing that sometime this week. We don't have an official date yet, I don't believe. If I had to guess, it'll probably be this weekend on like Saturday or Sunday. They'll probably wait till the weekend. Well, whenever they do it, we will do a play-by-play of what's going on. As that's the first thing that the devs have ever done. They haven't actually streamed yet. But the upcoming combat Q&A will be their first stream ever. I really hope Andrew Gower's on it. I know for sure the community manager will be. I'm just not sure who else from the dev team, if anyone, will be. Maxing requires a lot of money. Is that true or false? It depends what you're maxing. If you're talking about old school RuneScape, or if you're talking about Brighter Shores. Oh, never mind. You said old school RuneScape. It costs almost no money if you're maxing combat. Combats are basically free to max in old school RuneScape as long as you don't mind doing it a little bit slower. The only one that kind of costs money is magic, if you want to speedrun through it. Same as range. But melee is basically free. So to get 3 out of your 6 stats max, or 7 if you count HP, if you want to get 4 out of your 7 stats maxed, you can do it with almost no money at all. Like a basic build to power farm melee is like under 10 mil. There's a few things that you could do to min-max it a bit more beyond that. But 10 mil alone is enough to get a pretty decent setup. I know, I didn't have too much of an issue building the house. That's not really something you really need initially if you're just doing raids. As your house has no effect on raiding. It only has effect on bossing. So if you plan to power farm raids, you actually don't need a house. Like, at all. Yeah, honestly, I didn't really find maxing a house too hard on the hardcore. I never really ran out of any resource. I always felt like I had way too many. That if I was on a main, I would just sell. It's one of the reasons why I want to enable trading on in Brighter Shores as well. Is playing as an Iron Man, you actually get way too many of some resources. Some you don't get enough of, but there's others that you get way, way, way more than you could ever realistically use ever in the history of the game. There's one slight annoying thing about doing a Iron Man-like account. Is you get so much excess stuff that you don't really need at all. That you just kind of need to just let rot in your bank. Whereas on a main account, you just sell it out for stuff that's actually useful. Did I grind Dragon Warhammer? Yes, I do have Dragon Warhammer. And Bando's Godsword. The only 2 reduction specs I don't have are that one from Coliseum, as well as the one from Raids 1. But I got Warhammer and, what's it called? Bando's Godsword. Basically every single core thing you would need to do PVM on the hardcore. It has barely any best in slots, but it has everything it needs to properly do it. So whenever we do revisit it, we can kind of go on like a bossing spree whenever. There's a lot of bosses take a lot of time. Like one of the bosses we were currently working on of Raids 1 takes like, with our current gear, it takes anywhere from about 700 to 1,000 hours for one boss, or technically one raid. Which is so much time. So I just haven't bothered doing it. So far I've done it for like maybe 50 hours? Probably a little less, like 40 hours. So I haven't even dented like 10% of how much you have to fight that thing. It's still 0 drops as well, other than the prayer scrolls. Which I barely even count as a drop. So technically we've gotten 0 drops in all that time as well. We're like almost 10% in with 0 drops. What about Araxor? Araxor's pretty straightforward. It's actually probably the easiest boss they added all last year. I would even say the new giant boss that they added for early and mid-game is harder than the Araxor. Because Araxor is pretty pattern heavy. And once you get the pattern, it is completely free. And unlike things like Zulrah, it tells you what the pattern is right at the start of the fight, so you don't even need to guess. The second the battle starts, you know the exact pattern. So once you learn the 3 patterns, it's one of the freer bosses in the entire game. Though, speaking of our spree of over drop rate stuff, I am over drop rate on that boss. I believe the amulet's a 1 in 600. I've killed it about 1,000 times and still don't have it. I'm almost double over drop rate. Speaking of amulets, we still don't have any amulets in Brighter Shores yet. After the combat rework, I hope they start, like, going towards that at some point. Still feels weird that we have an empty amulet slot. Because that's technically something combat related. I wonder if they're actually going to answer that in the Q&A. I know it's not coming anytime soon. It'll probably come in like chapter 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever. Or when bossing comes out, or when raids come out, or whatever, whenever they finally do something with it. But I am curious what they're going to do with other slots. If they're going to add more than just amulet, just have amulet, or they're going to make the keep an actual stat related thing. As they did mention, they're likely going to make a lot of the current keeps into transmogs. But then they also mentioned that they're probably going to add keep effects. Which, to some degree, can't both be true. Unless, I don't know, I guess you could choose what keep effect you have active at any given time. Have it as, like, an extra perk just on your account as a passive. Which would actually be kind of cool if they did do it that way. Where they make all the current skill keeps into cosmetics. But did you really just take my tentacle? No! Where they make all the current things into cosmetics, but then they also go and still have it so you can have one perk active. What do I think about not being able to get combat above 1,000 if you're free to play? I think that's perfectly fine. If anything, you'll be pretty prepared for combat after that when you go to the rest of the game. If you're basically starting as a level 1,000, you're free to play. Or, you know, after you finish free to play. Because I don't plan to get to level 1,000 anytime soon. Like, after the combat rework, it'll probably be months before I get to level 1,000. As our current level right now under the new system is like 250-ish. Give or take like 30. Actually, maybe even close to like 220-ish, give or take like 20. Like, our combat level is actually really low right now. It's not even halfway to 1,000. And that's with all the combat we've done across all 4 chapters. It's not even halfway to 1,000 right now. Under the new system. People are mad about the capes. Have they been? I've really been keeping up with much of the discourse on the game. It's something I've actually been pretty bad at doing. We've kind of just been doing our own thing. I've almost haven't barely at all been checking like the Discord or Reddit or anything. So I don't actually really know too much of what's going on in that regard. That's understandable though, because a lot of people just rush combat in order to go and get those capes. And now combat doesn't help you at all to be able to get the capes. They're kind of doing a complete 180. Whereas before, if you wanted to keep, you had to go power grind combat. And now if you power grinded combat for the keep, then that progress has absolutely zero effect on you being able to reclaim the keep, as it's no longer associated with the chapter anymore. So definitely understandable that some people would be mad at that. I don't really mind a change though, personally. But I also haven't invested that much time into combat, so I'm in a position where it doesn't really matter as much. Oh yeah, I finally did make a 4-star range weapon, by the way. Was it worth it? Probably not. But I wanted as much advantage against them as possible as we started 9 levels below them. They're level 169, and I started at 160. So I wanted as much of an advantage as we can get. We also got a better roll this time around. We have a 41%. I think the last time we only had like a 33, 34% fire dagger. So we are a little bit more geared than last time. I think even our armor's a little bit better overall compared to last time. Do I think gaming laptops are a scam for their price? I don't know. I've used one for a while. My 2 previous computers were both gaming laptops. And aside from their keyboard being awful relative to the lifespan of the laptop, they were pretty good for me. But yeah, they are a little pricey for what they offer. Which is why I finally got like a proper computer setup now several months ago. Like back in September. As their price is a bit inflated. But the convenience of them is nice. It really comes down to if you're like traveling a lot or not. Yeah, and I personally never got into PlayStation or Xbox. I've always been a Nintendo only kind of person. I think the only time I ever played a non-Nintendo console was PlayStation 2, just for things like Guitar Hero and stuff, back when it was like really big. But beyond that, I've never owned anything PlayStation or Xbox related. And even when I got the PlayStation 2, I got it when the PlayStation 3 came out, or like around that time. Because they were like dirt cheap to get PlayStation 2s, because everyone was getting rid of them for PlayStation 3. Yeah, that's something I'm curious if Brighter Shores is going to do at any point. Become more of a rhythm game, because I do really like rhythm games. Old School RuneScape went heavily down the rhythm game style, mostly because of how prayers work. But I'm curious if late game PVM in Brighter Shores is going to be rhythm gamey. It doesn't have an equivalence like prayers, but it might still have some other mechanic that ends up working like that. The only issue I can see with Brighter Shores in that regard is every tick is way quicker. I think it's like 160 beats per minute or something. Which is way quicker than Old School RuneScape, which is at 100 beats per minute. So if they do rhythm gamify it, it's really quick paced compared to Old School RuneScape. Like 60% quicker. Like tempo-wise. Like, when you're doing stuff like this, you don't really see it. But in endgame PVM, it'd probably be a lot more obvious. Oh, I need to go do the dailies. Didn't realize this just triggered. Alright, we'll do it after we get a full inventory. I don't know, my alternative for traveling while playing this game was the Steam Deck. That was my alternative. Steam Deck's a little pricey, especially for the highest model, though I did end up getting it, though. But it does everything I would have wanted it to do in some. Like, obviously, there's a lot of things that a laptop can do that the Steam Deck can't. But it's still pretty good. Also, hello, Genki. Welcome, welcome. Hope all's been well. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. We're still in the midst of packing everything. And this is our quick break for a few hours to go just kind of chill for a bit. Still got at least like 6 hours of packing left to do. I just realized we're about to hit level 3,600. That's actually a really big milestone. I didn't even put it in the title either. That's a really big milestone. Because that's where current max level is if you had 200 all. That's I might go add it to the title. I forgot today's the 3,600 day. Oh, I'm about to die from changing the title. Sure feels like it. Let's see. Let me go edit the title. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. The title has been fixed. But I forgot, today's the day we're hitting 3,600. That's a really big milestone. As that's where current 200 all in the game is basically when you hit end game in this game at the moment. In the sense that 200 all is 3,600 in the current state of the game. So we're truly end game after today. Technically within the next hour at our current rate, because we'll gain a combat level within that hour. Yeah, we don't know what the monument reward's gonna be. They never really announced it. That would be funny if it was a pet, though I highly doubt it. If they're gonna add pets that early. I am curious if they're gonna go down the old school RuneScape route and add a pet for like every single boss in the entire game. Gosh, we're gonna be doing a ton of bossing if so. So hello, MK Jetson, thank you for the like, greatly appreciate it. Lazy Soft has still been here. I wonder what his stats are. I haven't checked him in such a long time. I wonder if he's going for 500 old mines in Matubin. Because how much I've been seeing him here, it makes me assume he's going for 500 old mines in Matubin. Let me go see. How do I check him? Friends. Mines in Matubin. Oh, he's the highest on my friends list. Oh yeah, he's going really heavy on miner right now. Oh yeah, he's going for max. He's 384 3 miner and 383 stonemason. He's skipping smithing, but he's going for 500, 500. Kind of like how we are currently. Yeah, he's doing the same thing, but way more progressed. We're at 250, 266. He's at 383, 383. But yeah, we were mentioning it earlier. We will be doing a Gems of War stream probably this Friday. Since I won't be able to do one tomorrow since we'll be away. I might even try doing one tonight, but I'll probably just cover the video instead. And just spend more time getting the video out quicker. Because I gotta be out the house by like 7 tomorrow morning. But I can't record the video until like 2 a.m. Because the daily reset timer. Miner works hand in hand with all weapon making skills? No. Well, kind of. It depends how you look at it. It helps stonemason and smithing. The way that it helps bone rate is it gives you all the material for upgrades, but it does not help you at all for training bone rate. But it gives you material that you can use to upgrade your bone rate to 4-star. But it directly helps you get blacksmithing up, and it directly helps you get stonemason up. The way that it helps bone rate is it allows you to make 4-star gear as a guardian. But nothing with mining actually trains bone rate. It just gives you upgrade material for upgrading your stuff to 3-star to 4-star. So technically every class does benefit from it. Though Guardians benefit from it the least. Hey, after this inventory, I need to go do the dailies. I meant to do that previous inventory and completely forgot. Oh, we got access to the toads now. They are way too bursty to ever take down, though. There's one thing that's really annoying about them. Not only are they further to bank than the tentacles, as far as their alchemy supplies, but they're actually really annoying to kill, even with blue damage. Like, even though we're, like, best set up to go and kill them, because we're a Cryo Knight, they are still really annoying to take out. And pre-200, there's not really a level range where they're worth taking for a long time. Like, the first toad really worth taking out would be, like, almost at the end of the skill with how it's currently scaled. Like, the first one worth taking is the 403 Fire Toad, which is also the final Fire Toad. And even that's barely worth it, because you can just kill the Metalith after. And the Metalith's way better to kill. So yeah, there's not a single Fire Toad you have to kill. I didn't realize that. I'm not sure if that's going to be restructured a little bit after the combat rework. But in the current state of the game, you actually never, even as a Cryo Knight, you pretty much never need to kill Fire Toad. Even with the advantage Cryo Knight has against it. Just because it's always surrounded by really good other enemies that aren't it. Either Tentacle or Metalith. Oh, so hello, Sir Valiant! Welcome, welcome. 2 more levels to level 3,600. We're almost there. Also need to go do the dailies after this inventory. I keep forgetting. Oh, so the poll is exactly at 50-50%. That's funny. There's one issue we've had with a lot of polls recently, especially when they have a small amount of choices. I feel like it gets an almost perfectly even spread. I need to do a more polarizing poll at some point. Because I feel like whenever I have 2 or 3 options, they're almost all evenly divided between each other. You know what? Let's go to the daily now. Because I can go bank when we go do the mining daily. Oh, I forgot to go grab the Oh, no, I can grab them here. I almost forgot. Ooh. I almost forgot. I can just grab the potion over here. Oh, that worked out perfectly. I should have came in through the other side, though. I'm going to have to backtrack a little. But yeah, I keep forgetting. There's a potion place in Chronopolis. I use it sometimes, but I always forget that's here. Like, I know it's there. It's just whenever I need it, I kind of forget. But yeah, we should teleport it from the other side. That's fine. I'll have to backtrack just ever so slightly. Because normally we want to go right there. But potion place is over here. Alright, 2 potions, please. I'll drink the 5% and I'll put the other thing in my inventory. Perfect, that we have exactly 1 inventory spare. Alright, there we go. Alright, now let's go do the mining one. First, we'll go bank everything. Then we'll go do the venture itself. Oh, we're not gonna make it in time. No! I was trying to backstep and step into it. That's fine. Alright, bank all this junk. Did I ever do the Awakened bosses? I did in Leagues. I haven't tried doing it on any account otherwise. Because the only account I had to do it on was the Hardcore. And almost no one has first tried every... actually, I don't think anyone in the entire game has ever walked into all 4 of the Awakened boss rooms and got it first try while doing it for their first time ever. There is 2 people who have done it on a Hardcore before, or 3. But there's no one who's ever done it without practicing on a non-Hardcore. Like, there's no one who just goes into the room and just immediately gets it. Unless they practice to some degree beforehand. Because they're really hard. And even people who have practiced, I think there's only 2 or 3 hardcores that have done it. But none of them did it first try. They did it on, they practiced like tens, if not hundreds of times on a main account. Back to mining. Daily secured. Until later tonight. Which we'll probably be streaming around then. We'll be streaming again for like maybe an hour in about 12 hours from now. Because I need to go claim it anyway, so it's like, yeah, I'll probably be around. I'll do that until we do the Gems of War video, I guess. There are some things I need to set up for preemptively, though. But yeah, we'll be doing that as our Monday stream in about 11.5 hours, I guess. Just so we technically have a Monday stream. But then we'll finally miss our first day of not doing consecutive streaming. It's fine, though. It's bound to eventually happen. Because there's zero chance I can get a stream on Tuesday. Just too busy. And by too busy, I mean not even around. Are there going to be player moderators in this game? I believe that initially they said they were going to try not to do that at all. But at some point, they'll probably need it. But I believe initially they were trying to not do that. Just to not do, like, favoritism or anything. But also because the community's so small, they don't really need any at the moment. Until down the line. Yeah, I'm not even sure if I would want player moderator status, even if they offered it. I'm not sure. If they some kind of creator program, I'd probably sign up for it, though. As far as moderator, I'm not sure if I'd want to. Because I'm very antisocial. I'd be a pretty bad moderator at a lot of things. Even stuff I should probably be moderating, like my own Discord and stuff. Like, other people generally do it for me, most notably Isabel. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I make a really bad moderator. Oh, so our first death of the day. I don't know, I'm just really introverted. Like, if I try talking to someone for even, like, 10 minutes, I'll want to, like, go to sleep. Not because I'm bored of the conversation or anything, it's just really tiring to me. Yeah, we're probably fine there, but we just died. I don't need to chance it again. Yusef, no, I don't plan to get married anytime soon. If I was to, it would definitely be like late 30s. But it'd be kind of impossible too in this economy. I feel like a lot of people are putting it off because of that. Like, almost no one has the money to start a family. Like, unless your job is 6 figures, you pretty much don't have the money to start a family. And the average wage in my area, I think it's only like 40, 50,000. Which means you would need both people working pretty much full time to even make like one proper income. I just realized we're almost at our first level 300 as well. I never realized Detective was getting that close. The problem is we can't train it again until level 315 properly. Otherwise we have to do like minus 45% raids or raid duns. Or keep letting the daily just slowly hit it up. I think at 306 we can technically do the AFK activity, but there's way better things to be putting it on. But yeah, so far, honestly, I haven't gotten bored of Brighter Shores at all yet. Even though our streams have been a little bit shorter lately, like pretty much all of the last month, I've still been playing overall the same amount of time. Just less of it has specifically been streamed. I think we're at like, what, 170, 180? Yeah, 182 hours this last week, which is what, 90 hours a week? I think we peaked around like 90-ish? I mean 100 hours a week or so? Like 100, 110. Yeah, currently we're at like 90 a week. Still pretty high. Steam Deck definitely helps with that though. There's just so many things you can do around the house while just tapping at it. Like when I go packing this entire time today, finishing it out, I'll be doing it. When I was doing it yesterday, I was. You just occasionally click a few times and you're good to go. It's one of the reasons I want to try grind the 170 right now. So I can AFK the combat. Because we can do the tentacles all the way till 179. But we can't really properly AFK them until about 170-ish. Hello, B. Welcome, welcome. Hope all's been well. We are back into Tentacles. 2 levels from technically max, and that's a 200 ult level. So one thing that's kind of funny, by tomorrow we actually retake a rank on leaderboard. We almost have official top 20 for the first time ever, as far as true top 20. Is the next rank we take in like 30-ish levels, and then the other one, I believe they quit. They've gained 2 levels in the last like 3 days, which means I think at most they're just checking their daily or something. As they were level 3655 like 3 days ago, and now they're 3657. So if we get 3,700, I believe we get top 20 for the first time ever. Of course, we haven't really been in a race for it, but it's a nice milestone to have. I still find it crazy how high some people are, though. Like, in about a month from now, there will still be people who aren't even, like, grinding right now, like Peticio, who will still be higher than us. I believe this is Peticio, one of these two. And he hasn't played, I think, in, like, 2 or 3 weeks. And in, like, a month or 2, he would still be higher than us. Which is kind of crazy. Like, I know I've done some things inefficiently, but gosh, have we been that inefficient? Based on what I've seen from other people's time played, it's more so a time played thing than an efficiency thing. We just haven't been putting in as many hours, even though we've been putting in a lot of hours. Because when comparing to some other people's time, we're actually pretty much where we should be right now, if not a bit ahead. Hey, Amber's here. I beat him to the hello. Come on! I can't not think of that in that one Warcraft 3 voice thing, which I guess is also technically from World of Warcraft. I always know all the Warcraft 3 references, though. Even though a lot of them are World of Warcraft references. I know them as Warcraft 3 references, though. As I probably have 100 times more time in Warcraft 3 than I do in World of Warcraft. Like, Warcraft 3, I probably have like 20,000-ish hours. Whereas in World of Warcraft, I have probably like 100 max. I don't know, when I was a kid, Warcraft 3 was basically my version of like Minecraft or Roblox. In that it has like infinite games within the game. So there's infinite replayability. But that's what we had back in my day. We didn't have no Minecraft or Roblox or anything. We had Warcraft 3 custom maps. Stop making me feel old. Really? Might need a double heal this fight. Really? Wow, we're getting absurdly bad RNG. When's our next upgrade? Gosh, do we need one? I forget if I have any banked. I can't wield them until 169. I'm pretty sure I do have 8 upgrade banked. We just can't wield it yet. That's a problem with killing something below its level. That's something that might be fixed with the skill tree when you have weapon and armor proficiency, but in the current state of the game, you can't fix it. The only way we can fix it is to get to 169 combat. But later down the line, you might be able to allocate to weapon and or armor proficiency to be able to wield things a bit higher than your level. Like, you might be level 1000, able to wield like 1200 or something. Whereas right now, you have to be the exact level to be able to wield it. So until we get to 169, we don't get any of the upgrades from this tentacle. Whereas under the new system, you'd be able to kill something higher than your level, but still be able to wield the upgrades that you get. Which is one nice change with the new system coming. Any news on its release? No. They're doing a Q&A this week, though. I don't think they've announced the official date for it, but sometime this week they're doing a Q&A. If I had to guess, probably sometime this weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday or something. But yeah, they're doing a Q&A soon. And after that, we should know a lot more info. Both on the patch itself and potentially a release date. But we don't have an official date for that. But if I had to guess, it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. They'll probably aim for the weekend. And by Sunday, I mean next week Sunday, not today Sunday. And then after that, it'd probably be a week or two until they do the update. You're worried they would nerf raid dens? Yes and no. There are 2 level situations where raid dens are nerfed. One is initially when the patch happens, your raid den might be too strong for you to even kill. Like, I think after the update, I can't even kill my own raid den because it's going to be way too overleveled. The other situation where you won't be able to do it is at the really high level range. It'll probably be fine up to 2000, but when Stonewall Hill comes out, it's probably at a level range where you can't do them anymore for good XP. They'll be really good prior to Stonewall Hill, but really bad after Stonewall Hill. Because the current proposed way that they scale might not be high enough to bother doing at that point. So technically, yes, no, and yes. They'll be nerfed a little bit initially because they're probably going to be way too overleveled. Then they're going to be really, really, really absurdly good for a lot of the middle range. But then by the time you hit around level 2000, they're probably going to fall off like crazy. For one, you can't get any higher because there's no more combat. But even once there is, you can't really get it much better than where it is. Like, it'll probably be too slow. Because they're going to level cap out at around, probably like 1,800, 1,900. So anything too much deeper than that, they're going to be really bad XP. By like level 2,200, 2,300, you probably never do them again. But they're going to be really good for that middle range. Like around 500 to about 2,000. Or 1,000, or 500 to about 1,800, somewhere around there. They're going to be really, really, really good for that level range. But they're going to be really bad after that. And really bad before that. Like, anything below 500 is probably going to be really bad. Like, for example, my next raid den is going to, at bare minimum, be level 344 plus whatever. The problem is our combat after rework is even going to be 344. Not even counting the plus whatever. They're going to be like 50, 100, 200 levels higher than me at the level 344 raid den. So we're kind of going to be locked out of even doing them initially. But then once we can start doing them again, they're going to be really, really good for a while. But then they fall off again after about 1,800. There will also be some dead zones where it's just not worth running. You would also have the issue of reaching 500 detective, in which case would also not be worth doing. Because once you have 500 detective, you definitely should not be doing raid dens anymore. Unless you just really want AFK combat XP. Please hit a little harder. Before it whacks you to death. At this rate, as soon as we gain that mining level, I think we're level 3,600 finally. We're almost there! Very nice milestone. The 200 all milestone, technically. As far as what level you would be. But yeah, starting next week, we will be easing up on combat and mining a little. I just kind of want to reach 262 mining and obviously get our mine fighter up a decent bit. But then after that, we will start wide farming pretty much everything in the game to whatever the next big milestone is. Merchant, I need to be 250. Leatherworker, I need to be whatever the next height is. I think I want to say like 240-ish before you hit a wall again. Bone Right and Stonemason, I kind of want to start getting a little higher, maybe to like 250-ish. These two can stay as is. Well, that one needs to get to 262. That one can stay there, though. 267 is when we can start doing the Platinums, so I don't want to go too much beyond that. And the 3,000 iron ore I still have banked should get us there. If anything, that's probably more than enough. Woodcutter needs to get 208. Carpenter needs to be 216. Gatherer needs to be 208, if not 248. But definitely at least 208. Alchemy just needs to be 500 somehow. Forger 209. Fisher 226. And Chef, similar to Alchemy, just number go up. No real exact goal, but it needs to be bigger than it is now. A Detective will reach 500 automatically after the changes in the rework. As if anything, we're going to gain way too much Detective XP. We might even gain 500 2 or 3 times over. But once we reach 500, I'll probably never do a raid then again. Unless I really want AFK combat XP. I almost feel like stopping the daily as well. Once we get to like 300-ish. Because the new raid dens are, once we can start doing them, are probably going to be really worthwhile doing. But I'm not sure what our plan for tackling combat is after we do have it. I guess the game kind of determines for us what we're going to be doing, though. Because we just go from strip to strip to strip. And the game basically tells us, go to chapter 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and so on and so forth. Basically, we just go to whatever it tells us to go to. And we're already going to be geared, so we simply just go in and just kill everything. It's going to feel weird because currently you have a divide. To some degree, I almost hope they don't merge combat. Like, I do and don't. I kind of like how they're divided right now, and you can kind of choose which one you go for. But I do feel like the collective power should go together. The way that I originally thought that they were going to do it before the game came out is I thought there would be one overarching combat level. However, kind of like what they're proposing. However, they still keep every skill as like a mini Slayer. That is how I thought they were originally going to do it. They did still keep each one as a mini Slayer, but they didn't make one overarching combat. They made every single one into both Slayer and combat. But the way I thought they would do it is have one overarching combat, kind of like what they're trying to do now, but then keep each one of these as a mini Slayer. But it's not what they ultimately did, nor what they're ultimately changing it to at the moment. But I wonder if they will go back and actually keep them like this. Where you still have the one overarching combat level, but still have each one of these as an individual skill every chapter. Because it kind of solves both things. It still keeps these intact for everyone who wants their cape and wants to keep maintain their progress that they had for each given zone. But as well as make you able to focus on various zones. But it also solves the overarching combat issue. Where you simply just have one singular combat rather than one per section. Where you still keep these as individual skills, but you have one overarching combat. So doing combat in Chronopolis still helps you in Hopeport. But the combat in Hopeport and the combat in Chronopolis would still be different. As far as what you would need to do in your level in each one. But doing combat in one zone would still help you in combat in another. But that's not quite what they're doing. At least based on current proposal. But we might have round 3 of combat changes. We had round 2, we had round 1, we had round 2. Let's see if they do a round 3. Because that would be my ideal scenario, and personally what I thought they were going to do pre-launch. Was one overarching combat, but each one of these is like their own individual like zone slayer. Kind of like how they are now, but with like more in-depth to them. Where they don't give you necessarily direct power, but still help for an overarching power level. Kind of like what they're currently proposing for the combination, but still keeping all 4 of these skills intact as separate skills, basically. But we'll see what they do. Because currently they plan on merging them and getting rid of them. You know what's missing from the game? Like the wiki? Yeah, the wiki could definitely use some work. I'm not sure if anyone's really properly working on it at the moment, though. Just because it takes a lot of time. And I'm pretty sure anyone working on it isn't being, like, paid to work on it. So everyone's just doing it in their free time. Like, there's no one full-time working on the wiki. There's barely even anyone part-time working on the wiki at the moment. There's still so much missing from it. The biggest issue with the wiki is I'm not sure they have any way of data mining, like, exact statistics for stuff. Like drop rate from loot tables and stuff like that. And Andrew Goward and the team has never released that info publicly. Like, for example, what's the drop table of this Tentacle? Like, we can guesstimate it based on, like, thousands of kills. But we don't know what this thing's exact drop table is, or any monster for that matter. It's going to be really hard when bossing comes out if we still don't know that. Like, if a new boss comes out and we don't know until a month or months later what his actual drop table is to its full extent. Because for a general enemy, it doesn't matter as much. Or for something like a boss, it would definitely matter a lot, as well as a raid. To know what those drop rates are and everything. Yeah, the main thing I feel like I miss a lot on the wiki is there's a lot of images still missing as well. Images, XP rates, XP drops, stuff like that are probably the biggest thing missing. Like, even in the thumbnail today, the rock I put in the thumbnail is not the rock we're currently mining. I think it's the tier 2 rock. Because they didn't have an image for the tier 5 rock. They look, all of them look pretty similar, so I just put one there. Pretty sure most people don't even notice. It's actually the tier 2 rock, not the tier 5 rock. Oh, one more level for 3,600. We're nearly there. Which we're probably getting off our combat level. I think we're getting combat before mining, just because mining needs so much XP. Yeah, I need to start dumping some knowledge occasionally on a Stonemason. We really need 206 so we can start training it again. After I finish the Alchemy AFK to 219, I want to start working up Bone Right and Stonemason towards 250. Just because under a new crafting system, it'd actually help us more to get these up than it will smithing, oddly enough. As smithing already covers us for so long already, where it's at. Because before it mattered a lot more because of how the combat works to 500 and everything. But under the current new proposed system, it would actually be a lot more beneficial to get Stonemason and Bone Right up next. And not smithing. And the main reason I want to do alchemy first is so we can actually start making potions again. Because I don't want to make a single potion until we're 219. Otherwise, it's wasted XP that we could potentially have for the best potion in the game. Because honestly, I still do consider that the best potion in the game. I don't consider any potion stronger than +4 boost. Honestly, even +5 boost I don't even consider as strong as +4 boost. Just because it's higher cost associated with it. It's actually insane how broken that potion is. Not only does it work in every chapter in the entire game that ever exists, which could be upwards of 20 at some point, but it also does more than a 10% XP pot, as long as you're using it at a range where it's usable. The big downside of it is you can't use that at every level range, but the level ranges that you can use that, it's better than a 10% pot, and it's stacked with XP pots, so you can still be running it with a 5 or 10% or whatever percent potion, on top of the benefit it's already giving you. It's not only the strongest AFK potion, but honestly probably just the strongest potion period in the entire game. I said, hello, Boogas! Welcome, welcome! Will it not be better to just stick with the system we have now for combat? You hope the new system will not mess things up. They're doing a Q&A sometime this week, so we'll have a lot more info after that. Based on their feedback, and we'll probably know a little bit more on their vision for it, or if they're going to pivot. But, yeah, they're doing a Q&A, an official Q&A, the first stream by the devs. Sometime this week. They haven't given an official date yet, I don't believe. But sometime this week we will have more info on what on earth they plan to do, as well as answering a bunch of community questions and everything. But yeah, we'll definitely go over it on stream. I might even cover a separate video on it, just because it's actually pretty relevant. I haven't really covered like a summary video on any kind of update before or Q&A in the past. But fundamentally completely overhauling the combat system is a pretty big thing. It is not small by any means. But long story short, if you want to be prepping for what they currently proposed, the best thing you could be doing is trying to get every combat level you have to what your current highest is. So in my case, I would want to start moving everything to 271. I only plan to do this for Mindfighter and then focus on other skills. But if you really want to min-max under the currently proposed new system, you want to try shifting everything you have to whatever your highest level is. So if that's 150, try getting all your combats to 150. Or in our case, 271. Technically 272, because you'll probably AFK some raid dens in that time. So I have this here so we can see all of our upgrades, but I keep forgetting our upgrades don't roll in until 169. So we're not going to see a single upgrade here for like the entire duration. Because until we reach level 169, we're going to get like a billion upgrades at once. But until then, we basically get no upgrades at all because we're fighting at such a low level. Normally when you're fighting something, you're a lot more even. But this is one that you could fight quite a bit earlier. This one in the middle, if you can fight like 10, 15 levels lower than its actual level, it's still pretty comfortably kill it. Whereas a lot of other things you want to be like 5 at most below it. Which are technically in that range right now. We're up to 165. We started at 160 though. Yeah, so 169. Oh, also, this combat level rolling in will be officially 3,600 as well. Very nice 200 all milestone. Technically, we already 200 all the other day, not counting combat. But today we'll have the 200 all level as well. And then I guess we'll start working the top 20 for the first time ever. Even though we've been there before, under True Leaderboard, we've never actually had it yet. So in about a week or two from now, we'll have it for the first time. I haven't seen too many people using that spear. The hand one, yes. The throwable one. I haven't seen that much of that weapon. I forget what a lot of Guardian equipment is. Like right now it's using its blue spear and whatever that throwy thingy is. Oh, we're done with Gatherer now. On to the next one. Oh yeah, I'm probably going to have to waste 3 points to get on combat. We still don't know what's happening to these knowledge points. But in order to drag everything down, I am going to have to waste 3 points there. Unfortunately. Hopefully it'll mention something about that in the Q&A. Because I don't believe we currently know what's happening to the knowledge that you have in every skill. Like the 7 we have here, the 4 we have here, the 7 we have here, the 44 we have there. Because the way those passives work is drastically different after the change. At least currently under current proposal. Unless they change the change for a 3rd combat rework. Which honestly I think they're going to at this point. I think after the Q&A they're going to do a 3rd combat rework preview. So I think that'll be the last one though. I think whatever one they do after this one will be the definitive, this is just what we're going to do, deal with it patch. After all the community feedback and everything else. If they show a 3rd one, I don't think they're going to do a 4th. But overall, whatever they do by the end, hopefully will work out. If nothing else, I'll definitely encourage us to do more combat than we have been. I do kind of hope they keep some of the chapter division, though. But one overarching combat would be so nice. As it would actually make me want to train it. Because right now I have pretty much no intention to ever get, like, guard up or scout up. But under an overarching combat system, it would be worthwhile to do. But in the current chapter divides, it's way more valuable to farm mines Matubin and Chronopolis than it is to do the first 2 chapters. And it's mostly because they're slightly nerfed, because they're free to play. Because you always have to keep in mind whatever they do to Chapter 1 is just free to play forever. So they gotta be a lot more careful with what they do there. Oh, also, I didn't show this yet, but our gold stack's actually a lot lower compared to yesterday. And the main reason for this is I actually pre-bought almost everything I need for 219 Alchemy. Just so I know where my cash stack is at the moment. Oh, I might still have to buy slightly more, but not that much more. Maybe like half a gold to a gold at max. But I basically pre-bought everything, in case there's a price hike. I was thinking in the back of my head, like, I know they're mostly working on combat rework, but what if they did a shop price hike sometime soon? So I was like, let me go buy the things we need. So I already pre-bought all of 219 Alchemy, pretty much. Or at least like 80-90% of it. I'm not sure what my next money pit's gonna be. I guess honestly, it's just gonna perpetually be alchemy. Because fishing should profit. I mean, sorry, cooking should profit. Fishing and forger, you never lose money. Gather, woodcutting, carpenter, you never lose money, assuming you're doing the gathering components. When it comes to carpenter. Bone-wright, smithing, and stonemason, you kind of can. But once again, as long as you're like mining it yourself and getting the gathering supplies, you don't. Detective, you never do. Leatherworker, you never do. And merchant, you never do. So really, the only skill that we will technically ever lose money on at this point, but a few exceptions still, like the smithing AFK and such. But the only real money sink is alchemy. At the moment. At least in the short to mid-term. It is the only thing that's actually going to actively burn money. Mostly because we're not selling any of the potions back and we're keeping them and use them. So regardless how we do it, unless we grab every single last resource ourselves, we will lose money while doing it. Because I plan to keep basically every potion. Oh no, he's gonna do it. Oh, good, good. He moved out of the way. Oh, so some people say there's no new players here. And honestly, the amount of people that walk into this tentacle would say otherwise. The amount of people I've seen at a low level range just walk straight into this tentacle is so absurdly high. Or even just any tentacle in this room. But particularly this tentacle. Like, that number should be nearly 0, if not 0. Yeah, I think every hour we see like 5 to 10 people do it. If not this particular one of them in the room. Don't do it. Okay, good. He was thinking about it. Is he waiting for his HP to naturally regen? That's kind of funny. I wonder if he's out of healing pots or something. Because I think he's in one-shot range right now. So he's waiting for some natural regen. Alright, let's see him die in like 2 seconds. He's probably two-shotted. Come on. Re-engage combat. I'm rooting for the tentacle. Currently he's winning. The longer he stays there, the more he's winning against the tentacle. At the staring contest. Be the best starer win. At some point today, he'll kill it. Let's see if he wins this fight before the end of this stream. He'll probably go for about 170. So I think at our current rate, we'll take about 2-3 hours? Probably around 2. Or, you know, 2 more hours. Because I believe we're gaining about 2.5 levels an hour, roughly. If we're doing only Tentacle, it'd be like 3.5-ish, give or take a bit. But of course, we're also doing all the rocks and banking everything. Yeah, it's 240 was the number I was thinking of earlier. Let's go above 250. What level do we need for that if we were to? Oh, don't tell me it's 283. Please tell me it's 266. Cow leather. Oh, good, it is 266. Because I'm considering the 250 all grind at some point. There's a lot of things we kind of already need to get there. Alchemy's going to get there naturally. Chef would kind of get there naturally. Fisher, I'll need to support Chef that way anyways. Forger, if we want 1,010% pots for Chapter 1. There isn't too much of another benefit beyond that, though, unfortunately. Out of the 250s, that's one of the least consequential ones. But it does supply us with a near infinite supply of 10% pots for Chapter 1. Gatherer we need for our best combat potion for Cryonite. Woodcutter just lets us have a wider range for everything in Mines of Bitumen. Carpenter, same thing. Mines of Bitumen, obviously, because we need the production. 2 of which are already done. And anything that we do in that regard for Chapter 4 is mostly in Chapter 5 prep. As at 250 Merchant, we can start getting the brick AFK once they finally add it to the game. And Leather Worker is just, you know, armor supplies for next chapter. Or money for now if we want to go sell it. Oh, also, by the way, level 3,600. I didn't even notice. We just got it on the previous kill. We finally did it. The 200 all level. This is where things start getting slow. Technically not, because I still have some things technically below 200. At least in the current system. But after the combat merge, everything is 200 plus. Assuming they're still going through with it. But this is where the true endgame starts. 200 all. TT, yep. We're finally in the end game now. Actually, how many people are at it right now in the entire game? 22 people have hit, like, true end game. Oops, I didn't realize we already had them all. That was a mistake. But yeah, now that we're at true 200 all, I guess we start moving to 250. No, there's a lot of skills I don't plan to get up that high. Forger in particular, I actually don't plan to touch for quite a while. Because I'm pretty sure it's really inefficient to bank a lot of the stuff we need. I don't know, compared to other alchemy things, maybe. It's just the potion itself that you get in return is pretty bad. I'd rather just do more of the other level potions. Like, for example, I'd much rather do a lot more of these fears than make this plus 70 cryo. I'd much rather do more of these cryos than make either of these two. Which I'm not sure how we're going to solve that one. I have no good way to go from 277 to, like, anything beyond that. Until, like, 383. There's a very big hole from 277 to 383 that I have no clue how we fill. That's the only big thing I see as an issue with alchemy. I guess the solution would be just AFK potion like crazy. Because the AFK potions in that range are really good. The only big downside is I would have to manually train from 315 to 335. But 277, we do this potion to 287. We then AFK this until we hit Stonewall Hill. We then AFK this until we hit 315. Then at 315, we're forced to have to go do actual manual training for 20 levels. But then we go back to Wealth Potion. And then I guess technically Forensic Potion, unfortunately. I believe this is the highest level Forensic Potion. The problem is, who on earth needs that? I guess we could sell it when player trading comes out. Because we're easily going to have 500 by then. But maybe there's someone who really wants to go buy them or something. Only takes one person needing them to sell them. I know for sure I won't be needing them, though. But yeah, I do believe that is slowly going to be our next pivot, though. Not directly trying to do it, but slowly working towards 250 all in all relevant skills. Or at least getting everything to their next really relevant number. It's our next pivot after a little bit of combat. Because I do plan, it's something I mentioned pretty early on, after about a month into the game when we realized that you wouldn't get any XP beyond 500, that I actually have very little to almost no priority to get 500s. We're always going to stay relatively even on all skills. There will be some that are obviously higher than others, but I don't really plan to get a 500 in a very long time. It might actually be the 1 year mark of the game, and we might still not have a 500. Or the only exception be Detective, due to how it will work in the new combat system, probably. But that's just because combat goes to 2,000, but Detective only goes to 500 and not 2,000. And half a Detective is basically a combat skill, but it doesn't get moved to 2,000 under the new system. It just stays at 500. So that might be our only 500 in the first year of the game. It's because we were training combat, not because we were training Detective. Well, you know, it'd still be training Detective, but it's because combat goes to 2,000 that would reach 500. There isn't enough incentive to go for a 500. Sincerely, someone going for a 500. And if anything, I feel like 500s have a negative incentive. In the sense that you're basically punished in the current state of the game for going for a 500. In the sense that once you reach 500, the current state of the game tells you to stop doing the skill. Instead of it being the starting point where you can do the skill very efficiently and get like a bunch of profit and everything, 500 is more so the level in which you should stop ever training the skill ever again. There's one thing that they definitely got to fix way down the line at some point. Is you're basically decentivized to ever get a 500. Other than if you care about leaderboard rank. But if you don't care about leaderboard rank, it is actually negative value to go for a 500. As once you do, you basically have to stop training the skill ever. And if they ever add better methods for training stuff, you won't even be able to utilize it or anything. Until they figure some kind of workaround to benefit people who actually have 500s. But the current state of the game actually punishes you really hard for getting a 500. As there's basically no incentive to keep doing it after you reach that point. You just want us to have a full-size cape so you can start playing the game? True, true. I'm going to be rocking the 200 all Minds of Matubin cape initially. Which is, of course, the current 200 combat cape for Mind Fighter. I might even test drive it once we have 200 Mind Fighter. Just to see what our new permanent cape is going to look like for a while. Because I don't plan to change that until we have 500 all Chronopolis or 500 all Stonewall Hill. Is when I'll finally trade out my 200 Minds of Matubin cape. 200 all Minds of Matubin. Mining level coming in soon. Still gotta get to 262 before we can get to a real rock. AK one that gives us smithing XP, not stone. We're nearly there, though. We still have to come to Tentacle one more time. Post 200. It's probably the last thing I'm killing for any amount of combat, pre-combat rework. Is the next tier of Tentacle. Which should be able to synergize all the way to 262 mining along the way. And then once we reach 262 mining, I'm probably going to stop combat. As we'll no longer be able to do the multi-skill method. As I'll need to move on to the next better thing. Which is pretty much going to end our combat journey pre-combat merge. But we're still a little ways away from that. I'm not sure if I'm doing it all consecutively either. While I'm going to be away for the next 2 or 3 days, I will be training that while I'm gone. But once we get back, I'm not sure if that's going to be a primary focus or not. Because we got to get like almost 250-ish combat and 262 mining. Which is not a short grind. Like, that goal is still like 2 weeks away. Like 2 or 3 days is not going to be enough grind to get there. It's more like 2 or 3 weeks. More so 2 weeks. There's still so many other things I want to be training that I just haven't been. I think one of the first things I want to go for if we do pivot a little bit off of combat again, I want to go for Gather to 208 really badly while doing Woodcutter to 208 at the same time because they have really good synergy. For the same reason while we're doing Mining Combat is the same reason we'll be doing Woodcutting Forager, or Woodcutting Gather, I mean. Because I want to get both these to 208 around the same time because they have a really good multi-skilling method. But the reason I need 208 Gatherer is so I can do Chef again. There's 2 things stopping us from properly doing post 200 Chef. And it's 208 Gatherer and 226 Fisherman. They're not required, but they would save us so much money. Like, so much money. Beyond that, I believe we do need Forager eventually. I want to double check. When do you need the next tier potato? When even is the next tier potato? It's at 321. That is so deep. I don't think we need that for a while. Let me double check Chef. When do you need the 321 potato? It should be the next thing that says potato only, which is the mash. Okay, you don't need it till 336. Okay, we're safe for a long while. We're safe for a long while. Oh, we don't need to worry about that then. So yeah, we can just ignore Forager then. Other than getting 209 Forager for the 10% XP pot, there's literally no reason for us to train Forager. As I plan to skip all the plus 70 combat pots that you get from Forager. And whenever we do them down the line, I'll probably just drop them on the ground for XP gain. If we ever do go for 500 Forager. But honestly, I don't actually plan to go above 209 Forager. Or the only reason even going that high so we can gain some 10% pot supplies over time. Because 2 of the fish have really good synergy with it. The Mana Ray and the Gennard. Especially if they add a closer bank at some point. But even if they don't, at least every time we teleport away, we'll be able to bank 24 of them. Or 22 or 23, however many we can hold. But then a couple of potions should probably be in the game, though. So every time we teleport away from doing Gennard or what's it called? Gennard or Mana Ray, we'll be able to bring a full inventory with us. A full inventory, 10% pots it is. It would also have really good synergies for gaining some passive XP for the skill. But yeah, I think that's what our next goal is. Just get to the next big milestone in every skill. These include 217 Chef for Stew, if we ever want to AFK cooking. This includes 226 Fisher, technically 235, so that every single thing I can do in my cooking, I can actually gather myself. That includes 209 Forager, so that when we do some of the higher level Fisher, we can go and get the Rack synergy, as well as Racks being the pretty much a last really good material you end up getting from Forager, as it makes the 10% pot for Chapter 1. Alchemy just needs to keep going up forever until it's 500. Gather needs 208 as the really big milestone, as that covers Chef However, there is another milestone for getting to 248, as this is our best combat potion. And there is a point in alchemy somewhat soonish, but not quite yet, where this will be absurdly needed, the red clover and thistle. So at some point I will need to do this. This to cover chef, and these two to cover alchemy at the mid 200 range, low 200 range. Well, this one for low 200 for cooking, this one for the mid 200 for alchemy. Beyond that and that, woodcutter needs to get to just bigger number. No real goal other than 208 at the moment. Carpenter 216 for the same reason, do the same material. Where having it way higher than that would be nice, but I don't really need it much higher than 208, 216 for now. Bonewright and Stonemason, no real clear level other than just get them up, so probably 250 for both. Just to have a nice even number halfway there. Or, you know, quote-unquote halfway there. Halfway numerically, nowhere's near halfway time-wise. But halfway numerically. If you were to do it based on effort, 250 is not even 1/4 the way to 500. If you were to do it on total time needed for the skill. But it is halfway numerically, so it's a nice stopping point. Yeah, 250, 250. Mining and blacksmith honestly don't need to go that much higher. We mostly just need 262 and 267. Just so we can do platinums whenever we want. But beyond that, we're pretty much good to go. With mining needing 11 levels and blacksmith needing a half that I already have banked. Detective will get to 500 without doing anything. Merchant, we need at least 250 or 322 for the eventual ventures. And leatherworker just needs to be number go up for eventual armor maker. Same reason why carpenter needs to be number go up. Where no real goal is needed, but higher is better. But no real end goal for it. These all those basically have no real end goal. Woodcutting, carpenter, bonewright, stonemason, and leatherworker. They all just simply need to be higher. There's no real number where it's like, okay, we're done with this skill now. It's a number that basically needs to be 500 eventually. But we're not going to do the whole 500 grind at once. There's actually a lot of skills in that category, actually. The only ones that really aren't like that is like Forger. And that might be the full list. Like almost every other skill just needs to keep going up over time. Forger's like one of the weird outliers where it's actually really bad. It's really good at the lower level range, but really bad at the higher level range. The only thing you gain at super high level range is like one thing for chef. Your monument becoming a little bit thicker. And like plus 70 pots that aren't even as good as plus 80s. And both of them are basically useless in the current state of the game anyways. Forger's balanced really weirdly. Where it's meant to be like a super early game good skill, but then at the higher level range it does almost nothing. Whereas Gatherer and assumably Delver are both the other way around. Where they don't do too much at a lower level range, but do a ton at a higher level range. Like the thing for Delver, if they keep the same numbers, this potion right here requires like 416 Delver. And you need 490 alchemy to process it. It's insanely high. Oh, so 2.5 more levels if we could actually go wield over a gear we've been getting. Which isn't that much, but it'll help. And then we'll probably go to 170, so I can start AFKing them off stream while I go pack up the rest of the house. Hope it doesn't take too much longer, though. I'm getting tired of packing stuff. I think the more annoying part is going to be unpacking and getting everything working again. There's just going to be some random cord that's going to be loose somewhere, as I'm going to forget where something goes or something. Just because there's so many random cords going all over the place. That's one of the other reasons why we might not be streaming on Wednesday. I might not even have everything set up properly by then. Because I'm probably not getting back till late Wednesday. It's gonna take me at least a good, like, 4 or 6 hours before everything's reset back up. The room as well as all the computer stuff. Gonna have to rewatch old streams where we're gone. You know what was a really fun one? That was actually, I believe, our most viewed one, like the other month. But the Christmas Hat Day launch stream, where the Christmas hats end up getting released. I hope the Easter ones are just as fun to go for initially. Hopefully get some cool hats for it. Yeah, that's like the next time they're doing it is for Easter, which is... When is Easter this year? I want to say it's either late March or early April. I forget where it falls this year. So when we get the next hat event. But the first hat event was actually pretty fun. Because it was the first time that the game ever introduced a new grind that wasn't already there. Because every single update has just been like quality of life or shifting things around or making things easier. It's technically the first new content we ever had to go grind for in the history of the game so far. Though the combat rework will feel like that as well. In that it's not technically new content to go for, but it's going to be so revamped that it feels new. But yeah, I do need to cover some videos at some point for this game. We've covered one since launch. And while I was going to do the 100-day video, at that point, this is pretty much on the back burner. As all the packing, everything's been taking way longer than expected. I do still want to cover a video like that. It's probably not going to be called the 100-day video anymore. But the main thing that I was going to cover, like the top 10 things that we learned with so far in our time of over 1,000 hours and over like 120 consecutive days by then. I still kind of want to do a video like that. Like the top 5 biggest mistakes while also covering the top 5 things I feel like we've done that a lot of other people aren't really doing. Or if they are, it's only like the end game of endgame people playing at like max efficiency. So like the 5 biggest mistakes and the 5 biggest tips basically in one video. To some degree it makes sense to divide them, but I feel like it makes more sense putting them together. Just on the biggest mistakes we made and the biggest things that we've done correctly. Basically in one video. Because I feel like a lot of people, even in endgame, aren't really doing the east-west priority thing that often. It's something you do a lot in RuneScape, but I feel like a lot of people playing this game without a old-school RuneScape background aren't using it as much. Like all the movement priorities that are in the game. But east-west priority on nodes probably being the most noteworthy one. Because the amount of people I see who are like level 3,000 plus gathering incorrectly is actually absurdly high. It could just be that they're doing it slightly more AFK. But it could also be that they just don't know. Which is kind of insane after that much. Like, it doesn't save that much time, but it starts to add up if you do the correct pathing every single time. It's why you might see me manually walking to this one. Because it wastes 2 tiles if you don't manually walk to this rock. I'm not sure if I've actually mentioned that in a single point this entire grind. But the reason I always walk here is because this is what happens if you click on it directly. Which is really bad. It wastes 2 tiles. You also sometimes have to put in consideration this one. As depending on where you're moving after, you actually waste 1 tile depending on how you go into it. Like if we need to go bank, we actually want to go to the north tile, not the south tile, otherwise it wastes 1 tile. I also see almost no one's corner skipping Tentacle Road. Even Red Bean, who is ranked 2 Mines of Matubin, he doesn't actually corner skip this room. He does, he goes around them, but he does it with corners, which wastes a tile every time he does a corner. So he wastes about 5 tiles or 4 tiles, whatever it is, going through Tentacle Road. Despite being the person who's probably gone through this road the most than any player. But he wastes about 1 or 2 seconds every time he goes through. The main thing I'm bad at judging, though, is when it's worth keeping something on the ground and when it's worth banking. Because I'm a hoarder who likes to bank everything. So one of my biggest mistakes is I've definitely banked way too much over the course of this game. Out of my hoarding tendencies. No way did you high roll! Gosh, I need to stop chancing this tentacle until we're level 169. Yeah, that's like the third time today has happened. Once we reach level 169, we could probably just bank the heal pots, though. But prior to then, yeah, we need to stop chancing it. We have the potions for a reason. We gotta drink them. But what I mean by corner skipping is, this room's pretty straightforward to corner skip these days. But this room right over here is the one that you save the most amount of time on. Easy corner skip right here, then again right there, and then you're good to go. The other one kind of just naturally corner skips itself if you just click it. So you save about 1 second then if you corner skip the entire Tentacle Road. About like 0.6, 0.7 seconds in this room and like 0.3 in the other. There used to be more corner skips in the other room, but ever since they changed it, it's actually less needed. However, the way they changed it, you actually lose 0 tiles with corner skipping now, compared to using a fear pot. If anything, they actually nerfed using fear pots for these roads. At one point, it actually saved you, I think, 1 second if you were feared up, compared to not feared up. But now I think it only saves either 1 tick or 2 tick if you're using fear compared to no fear. So it's actually not worth using a fear potion ever since they changed the other room. At one point it was, as it saves like 1.5, 2 seconds, but now it saves like 1 second at most, if even that. It's way better just to corner skip, as the amount of time it takes to drink the potion is actually worse than the amount of time it saves. Or the only exception to being if you're crossing over and over and over again. Or if you're only crossing like once every 10 minutes or something. It is actually quicker to corner skip than it is to drink a fear potion and just walk through. Oh, so I'm gonna bake the healing pot. Worst comes to worst, if we somehow run out, we can go get more. But I think we're almost tanky enough where we're barely drinking to begin with at the moment. Oh, I should have equipped one more heal pot, though. Oh no, I only have 19 left. That 19 should last us the rest of our grind, though. I need 3 more levels. Well, technically 4, but that one's basically already there. At 169, we should never need a heal pot again, or at least very absurdly rarely. And up to that point, I'm pretty sure we'll use like 10-ish. So we should be fine. I just realized we're almost in full 4-star for once. We're only missing 3 pieces to be in full 4-star. It's something that when Armor Maker comes out, you could technically do, even though it's probably not worth doing at a given level range. Because right now, it's almost impossible to be in true full 4-star. At least without using super underleveled stuff. But even when Armor Maker comes out, it'll so rarely ever be worth doing that. For the amount of time it'll take to make 4-star armor is so high relative to the benefit of 4-star armor. For weapons, it'll be worth it when special attacks and everything come in. But I'm pretty sure no one's going to be rocking anything above 3-star armor for quite a while until they figure out how they're going to buff armor. But hopefully by chapter 6 or something we'll have like armor enhancements. And or weapon enhancements. Get a bunch of affixes on them. Have a whole dictionary of text behind it. I'm trying to think of games I've played that are like that. I know most recently a game that's come out that's like that is Path of Exile 2. So I guess technically Diablo 2 had it? But I don't recall it too much because I played it so long ago. Because I didn't bother trying Path of Exile 2, but I do know that it have like a billion enhancements that you could do to anything. Which is something that Brighter Shores is getting eventually. Probably not to the same degree that Path of Exile 2 has. But you will eventually have, like, at least 1, if not 3, like, extra effects on everything you have. If not 5. So that's one pretty big divergence that we currently know that Brighter Shores is going to be doing compared to old school RuneScape. Unless they eventually add shamanism or something. Which I might have to come back just to vote no for. Might literally need to go remember the account just to go and vote no on shamanism. But, unless they start adding enhancements to old school RuneScape. It's one big divergence that Brighter Shores is doing. In Brighter Shores context, I feel like it'll be fine. In old school, I don't feel like it'll be fine. Because Brighter Shores is being built with the ground up with it. Same reason why it probably works with Path of Exile as well. Or Path of Exile 2. And that the game is actually built around it from the start. But it would definitely not work in old school RuneScape. But I'm curious to see how it'll work in Brighter Shores. Because it'll still be early enough in development that it would be fine to add something like that. Whereas it's way too late for old school to add it. It'll be like Evolution of Combat over again. Except for gear. The evolution of gear. Brighter Shores can easily get away with that, though, as long as they do it within the first year or two. It's just old school really can't after 2 decades. It's way too late. The only slight thing I hate about enhancements on gear, though, is there's always a meta that's worth doing. Like, even though you have a lot of choice in theory, there's generally only, like, 1 to 3 ways you would ever build an item that isn't just trolling. That's the only problem with being able to make, like, super custom gear and everything, with a bunch of extra effects and affixes and everything. Is there's generally a meta where only 1 to 3 is actually viable. And a lot of other things that you would put on it are just like trolling if you bother building into it. The other issue is how accessible is the material to actually go and enhance them, in a sense. Also, is it going to be attached to an enhancing skill? Because if so, you're going to need a 500 that thing immediately. Like, immediately. If they actually make it attached to a skill rather than, like, a shop. Is this going to be a more important skill than your weapon-making skill in Chapter 3? That would be funny if they do make it into a skill, though, and call it the Enchanter, or Enchantress. The Enchanter or Enchantress skill. I do feel like they're going to skillify it, and not shopify it. The only problem with making it a skill is it's going to be, like, highest priority skill in the whole game to get up once you get to that chapter. If it's in, like, Chapter 6 or 7 or wherever they put it. Oh my gosh, our mining level is still so far away. How many have we gained across this journey? We've gained 4 levels since we've been doing Minefighter. Because we started around 247. Like 247 and a half or whatever it was. So technically 3.5. We've done 3.5 mining levels in all of our combat grind. Although the main time it would get up is when we do the post 200 one. Is that when we have to camp for a very, very long time. Like, we started this one at 160, and we'll be stopping it at, like, 175-ish? Somewhere around there? Let's even say we go all the way and go to 179. Which means we would have camped it for 19 levels. 19 levels post 200 is less than 5. Let's just say it's 5. It's 5 post 200 levels. To put that in perspective, we're camping this for 5 levels if we do the maximum amount of time. If we were to put that in comparison when we do this Tentacle, starting around 244 and going until, let's say, 264. So we're doing it for, how many levels is that? Let's even say we start at 250. And we go till 264. So 14 levels. But those 14 levels are all 4 times longer. So it's 14 times 4. Which means for the same equivalents, we would be at this Tentacle for, what is that? 56. We'd be there for 56 levels instead of 19 levels. So basically 3 times as long. And that's if we started pretty late. We can actually start it earlier than that, which would be even more time there. But at bare minimum, it's going to be 3 times longer than how much we have to farm this current tentacle. Which is a lot of mining XP. Which means if we were to guesstimate that, that should be about 9 mining levels then. Maybe 8, because some of that was from the previous set. There should be about 8 to 9 mining levels then. Which is perfect because we need 262. So it's going to work out pretty much perfectly then. By the time we are done with how much Mine Fighter we want, we should have all of our mining. I do have to say though, I am slightly tempted to get to the final venture. It's the 380. The problem is that's so far away. I kind of want to have one maxed out venture already. Because a few weeks ago we got to 200 all ventures, where, you know, everything being 200 plus, so we get the better benefit. But we don't have any venture that's maxed out, aka the highest it can go. The most realistic one, based on the grinds that we are likely to do anytime soon, is the mining one. It's so far away, though. Like, we'd have to tangent into mining for, like, weeks straight, which I don't plan to do. As much as I want it, it's too much time investment to go out of our way for. This is a little under a month of nothing but mining. Which we will not be doing. At least not yet. At some point we do. This is not really high priority. Oh, so I know we're going to have so much more ammo later down the line. But I'm really disappointed that 4-star weapons at launch didn't have 5 ammo. Because you have 3 when you were at a 2-star below. You have 4 when you get to 3-star. So then it's like, oh, you'll then have 4 at 4-star, right? No. I mean, you'll have 5 at 5. Sorry, I said that wrong. At 3 you have 4. But at 4 you would think you would go to 5, but no, you still stay at 4. Really wish you got that extra shot in there. Obviously, after the combat rework and skill tree and everything, that's going to be a thing of the past. But it makes it so upgrading a ranged weapon is very, very bad in the current state of the game. It'll matter a lot more after all the reworks and everything, though. But it's generally really bad value. The only reason I did for this one was because we already had the spare material from drops, and we're starting to get to a level range where I wouldn't be able to use them anymore. So I basically had to use them before we weren't able to use them anymore. Because the closer we get to 199, the more we need 3 199s to work. I still have 1 banked, though. I'm not sure if I'm able to use it for anything. I have a 125 Guardian weapon banked. But let's see, what's the highest level I can make out of that? Calculator, where are you? The highest level I can make is 199, 199 plus whatever its level is. 199 plus 199 plus, I believe it was 125, divided by 3. The highest I can make is a 174. So, yeah. I guess maybe I do an upgrade then. Maybe a 2-hand upgrade or something. Because that's the last time I can use that material before it's useless to us. So I might have to go for a 2-hand upgrade then. I could technically do a rapier upgrade then as well. Maybe upgrade our rapier first, and then go to Toad. And that might be what I end up doing though. The only problem is I plan to AFK Tentacles today. If people would stop aggroing it. I'm definitely going to the other room when I do it if I'm doing Tentacle only. What was I checking here? Oh yeah, the next enemies. If I was to rapier a 174, it would kind of fall off if we're not potting. Because the next weapon we need is actually a really beefy 2-hand for these other guys. I was not sure if a 174 2-hand is going to cut it there. But I don't really have a better option. But what are these things even weak to? I want to say green. No, they're weak to yellow. It's not worth going out of our way to make a mace, though. But yeah, let me go double check what item I have. Just so we can see the exact math But last I recall, it was like a 125-ish. And we're almost at the level where we can't even use it for anything. Oh, it's a 127. Okay, so I can maybe get one more level than what I thought. Let me redo the math. It's a 120. Oh, yeah, I got this helmet earlier, by the way. I can't use it for anything. But yeah, 127. Alright, let me redo the math based on that. That might be one level higher. Calculator, where'd you go? What is 127 plus 199 plus 199 divided by 3? Yeah, it's exactly a 175, that's what I thought. So we can actually make a 175, not a 170, well, not a 174 then. But that's the final upgrade I can make. Which I'm probably just putting into a two-hand then. I don't think I'm going to bother the rapier route just to kill the toad. It's only a 15 level increase, but it's better than nothing. It's not going to take that long to make either. Because I need the Stonemason XP anyways to work to 206. So we're not even going out of our way for that. And the bone rate component we already have. And the reason I have to do a 175 is that's the last level range where that bone rate equipment can be used. Because it's the highest level we can currently make out of it unless we want to do a post 200, which is a huge waste. No! Someone took it from me! I was wondering why it wouldn't let me hit. He came in and stole my tentacle. Honestly, if multi-boxing was allowed, I would just have a billion accounts standing in this room so no one could take my server. Add all of them so I'll auto-reserver to them. And then no one can ever touch my tentacle in my single-player game. Not sure why there's so many people in my MMO. It's like it's an MMO or something. But they keep XP wasting us. No way you high-rolled! That is also XP wasting us. No way did he just max roll us. Oh, so I've been starting to bank here whenever I need a bank. It's a lot more chill than the other location. And by the other location, I mean the place in Chapter 2. It's something I hope Chapter 5 gives us in one way or another. Either via builder directly or just in general. We really need a better banking spot whenever we need a deposit box. Like just a general one where you could deposit anything. Because the current teleports are really annoying. Hey, Conqueror's here as well. Nice, nice. Oh, he looks really high level too. I wonder what Mind Fighter that is. No way did he get it from me. No! How did that even happen? Alright, fine, I'll just go mine these while I'm waiting. Yeah, 1.5 more levels, we could finally go wear all of our new shiny armor. And then at that point, we should pretty much never die to them, unless we get absurdly unlucky. I believe we get 2 3-star upgrades. I don't think we got any 4-star, unfortunately. If we were to get one, glove would definitely be the best one to see. I just realized something interesting. These things are weak to fire. When we make the 175 weapon, I can actually move up to Cockroach. They should be similarly as easy as these things. They're slightly harder, but we get a better material from them. As they should drop the other half of the 10% pot down the line. Does the class system matter in this game? At the moment, it partially does. It mostly just determines what kind of weapons you could use. And there are a bit of differences between each one of the classes in that regard. But right now, all of the classes are pretty samey at the moment. But they will be adding special attacks and a few other things that will be making it quite a bit difference between them. There are definitely differences now. But they're pretty minor. For Guardian's more so the high attack speed one. The Hammer Mage is more so the bursty one. And Crown Knight's more so the one that likes to prioritize shield. But they will have a lot more dynamic difference between each other later down the line. It's just a lot of the changes with combats they're basically overhauling over time. And it could still be a few months before they implement everything. Because right now it's pretty bare bones, both combat and the difference between the classes at the moment. But it's one of the main reasons why I'm doing the other two classes as well. Because you do get 3 profile slots for 1 membership. So I've been slowly working up the other 2 classes, and the main reason for that is, in case there ever is a big enough difference between the 3 classes, I do want to try all 3. Obviously, we'll always be maining the Cryo Knight here, but I do want to give the other 2 a fair shot. So after a lot of the combat rework, you will be able to use gear from all classes. You're just whatever class gear that isn't your own, or, you know, your primary one will be a bit weaker. But you will be able to use all gear from all classes once the full reworked combat's fully in the game. It's just your main class will always be able to do it more proficiently than the other 2. Alright, 1 more level after this one, and we can go wear all of our upgrades then. I forget how many we have banked, but we'll find out when we get there. I know it's at least 1, I'm not sure if it's how many it is though. Hopefully we'll get 1 more by then, because I don't think we have that much. I think it's like a body upgrade and maybe a leg upgrade, which are both barely even an upgrade. Those are going from like 152 to 169. It's better than nothing though. Also, no 4 stars from this Tentacle this time around. At least not yet. But yeah, I really do kind of want to get the Stonemason level up to go use all these, because we're going to have so many of them banked. I think after 219 Alchemy, it's the thing I start to AFK. The problem is I need to either train it and or knowledge it to 206 before I can AFK it, though. To get past the pre-200 hump. It's something we luckily don't have to do for Bone Right, because you get to do it immediately. But you don't get to do it for Stonemason until 206. And we currently do not have 206 banked. We got a lot for 233 banked, but not for anything to get there. Or 206 being the main bottleneck, because after that we can just AFK it all the way to 233 if we really had to. It would take a while, but it would get it. We would get there. Also, I just realized something. The two enemies that are 100% safe spottable in this region are both weak to fire. Because it's Tentacle plus Cockroach. Cockroach, you need infinite ammo before you can. Like 20 ammo plus. Well, once that comes into the game, you'll be able to do it on them. And Tentacle is as well. But I didn't realize that till just now. Not only does this chapter after the rework have two completely safe spottable enemies, but both those two enemies are also weak to fire. Oh yeah, remember earlier when I said there's some times where it's better to go top here? This is a time where it's better to go top. Because we're going up north next. Oops, I should have grabbed that one. I forgot we grabbed all three earlier. Normally you skip this one if you're only doing a partial spawn. But if you're taking all three, the first one will be spawned by the time you get back. Oh yeah, isn't that the one we get to make with carpentry as well? I just realized that. Because we end up making pine. And pine is what you need to make the fire weapon. Oh, good thing we're banking a bunch of it. We almost forgot about that. The first one that we do in post 200 is actually for our fire range weapon. Which is really good in Mines of Matubin. Because why are they getting so unlucky all of a sudden? It's like second, third fight in a row. We're down really bad. Still fighting it out though, we'll be fine. We'll be fine, we'll be fine. We'll be fine, we'll be fine. Yeah! Okay, we just got chanced. But hey, we survived. Really shouldn't be doing that, though. Because it wastes far, 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 far more time if it ends up killing us. I keep forgetting, our Minds of Matubin rank's going up as well. I kind of forgot that's a byproduct of doing, you know, Minds of Matubin. Because your Minds of Matubin number goes up. Who could have guessed? Doing stuff in Minds of Matubin makes your Minds of Matubin level go up. They're almost top 20 again. It went down a lot because we stopped doing anything in this chapter. But now that we're doing stuff in this chapter again, it's like skyrocketing. Because I was as low as like 40 or 50 at one point. And at this rate, by the time we come back on like Wednesday or Thursday, we're already going to be top 20. Oh, so I just realized something. Let's say I want to go knowledge all the way to 206 Stonemason. AK, I'm probably going to knowledge all the way to 206 Stonemason. How many knowledge points is that? Because that's a lot. Because it's what? 16 per level for 5 levels. And then I guess the XP pots you could technically say cover the rest. So for all the 7% pots. So that means we would need to do 16 times 5, which is math, 80. I would need 80 knowledge points. That could be done in about 3 days. 3 to 4 days, depends how much we play. If we dump all knowledge for 3 to 4 days, probably closer to 4 because we still need to put the knowledge points in afterwards as well for the actual activity. If we do that for about 4 days, we will have Stonemason operational again. We gotta do that at some point before 219 Alchemy. We got a good week before then, though. Even 2 weeks. Depends how much we sleep. Also depends how busy I get while I'm away. Because we're almost going to be treating it like a mini vacation. There's a lot of things to do around this area. But they almost never really do due to money constraints. But since we're having a little mini vacation while we're away from the house, might actually do some of them. Like, there's a lot of shows nearby where you have like a whole dinner and show kind of combination. The price of it has gone up so much though. I think at one point it was as low as like almost 10 a person. Nowadays, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 50-ish. So there's one big downside of not banking all this. We have like no gold right now. 6 gold. We're about to run out soon. Luckily I pre-banked everything for alchemy, so we don't have a big money sink anytime soon. Also eating at it. But still. Anytime we're not banking these drops, we're losing out on money. And you generally want to not bank them because you have so many alchemy supplies in this region. It's the biggest plus and downside of Minds of Matubin. You bank so much alchemy for free. But technically there is a cost. It's the cost of every drop on the ground. Or at least the 1-star drops on the ground. Because if the enemy that you're killing doesn't really have a secondary drop, you could just bank, or you know, sell all the 1-stars. But Minds of Matubin, you pretty much never do the 1-stars. 2-star and higher, definitely. But the 1-stars are in a bit of weird in between. At least until post 200 anyways, where they're a little bit better. But a lot of times you only do the 2-star better. Because it's too much time waste to do the 1-star stuff. Like, they're worth a little bit. I think they're like 8 silver each right now, 9 silver each at this level range. But the problem is it keeps clogging up your inventory. You have to drop them one at a time rather than drop all. Which is really clunky. currently deal with. So you tend to just not deal with them. Post 200, that changes slightly, though. But it still eats a lot of time if you want to go sell them. Even if you're selling them for like 12, 15 silver each. You still got to teleport all the way away and then get all the way back. And of course it still clogs up your inventory if you're fighting something with secondary ingredients on it. Which is pretty much everything in Mines of Matubin. I think there's only 2 enemies in this entire zone currently that does not drop a secondary ingredient. And they're the skeleton and the zombie. Basically the 2 undead ones. Don't have any ingredient on them. Every single other thing in this entire chapter does. Alright, half a level and we can finally wear our new gear. And then we get to figure out what our new gear even is, because I have no clue, actually. I know it's some assortment of stuff. I just forget how many upgrades it is. It's anywhere from 1 to 3 upgrades. Forget the exact number. Some of it was grinded earlier, some of it was grinded now. I just realized something. Did we not get a single upgrade this entire stream so far? I don't think we have. Any upgrades we got were earlier. Almost 3 hours in with nothing. And we're not even post 200 either. This is with the better drop rate. But yeah, 175 we'll have to move to the other thing then. But that'll be later. We're just going for 170 now. I will be doing one, like, very, very short stream probably tonight. Most likely. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. But tomorrow should be, like, our final recap before we're away for a while. For, like, 2 or 3 days. But by the time we get back, we should be 200 plus Mine Fighter. Ideally, we'd be 262 mining, though. I'm pretty sure I'll be doing that with Tentacle instead. So I guess the other thing I might work on is Stonemason then. So it's already 206 beforehand. Because there might be enough time in that downtime to do it. That way, whenever we want to go higher on Bone Right or Stonemason, we can. I plan to do that after the Alchemy 219, though. Just so we can start training Alchemy again. Because we're locked out of the skill till 219. Because we need to maximize the number of this potion made. We had a +4 boost potion. I still would say that's the strongest potion in the entire game by a mile. The fact that it works on every skill in every chapter is just so strong. It only works on some level ranges, but when it does work, it is so good for those level ranges. Like, absurdly, absurdly good. It's still worse than actively training, though. But obviously, no one's actively training 24 hours every single day. Unless you're, like, multi-logging or something. Or, you know, multiple people on one account. Which means at some point you'll need to sleep or do something else. And when you do, those potions will be ready. Yep, lazy sloth still in that iron. I can't wait till we get to tier 6 iron. Honestly, I wouldn't be against doing tier 6 iron all the way to 500. You shouldn't do that. It's just so chill though compared to everything else. It's also used for multiple best in slots on Crown Knight, which is kind of crazy. It's used for our Rapier, it's used for Shield, which other classes can use as their weapon and shield upgrade. And it's used for our best neutral weapon, aka physical range. So anything it doesn't really cover well is two-hand. Actually, what does it make for two-hand? Does it even make one? I don't even think it makes a two-hand. Yeah, it doesn't. It makes the best physical throwy. Technically the only physical throwy. But it makes the physical throwy. It makes our best one-hand blue. It makes a shield. And it makes our best yellow weapon. But yeah, no two-hand, oddly enough. That's what the Flatiniums are for. Because Flatinium makes all the best two hands. Iron makes basically everything else. And the other two just do some other utilities here and there. But Carbonace's most relevant one probably being the range blue, which will probably be really good for PvP, but honestly doesn't have too much of a use case outside that. And, what's the other one? The, which one is good under green? I guess technically our battle axe, I believe, is made under green. Our bow might be good as well. Is everything for green? I guess throwing axe as well. Okay, make a shield. Our best and only range yellow weapon. The best Necromay slow hitting weapon in the entire game. With probably an insanely good special attack. And the quickest attack speed green bow. So slowest attack speed Necromay, quickest attack speed green for range. And just a random shield. And our only yellow weapon for range. It's definitely not bad. It really comes down to what special attacks come out to on them. Because the only thing that you really go out of your way for out of any of those is probably the battle axe. And the only enemy worth killing with that battle axe is the Metallifts. But outside of this enemy, there's nothing in the current state of the game where you really need them for. At least until it gets special attack and everything. Like, that's the only enemy in the game that's worth going out of your way for to make that axe. Luckily, we got lucky on the last Metallif because we got it as a drop. Which is why the second we got it as a drop, we moved to them. As it saved having to even make the item in to begin with. Alright, come on, 1-4 for level and we can go wear all of our upgrades. Come on, we're almost there. And then we should hopefully never die to this thing again. Or need heal pots barely. Oh, so I said this would last us about 10 of them we would drink. And we already were 1 down. So yeah, it was only 2 off. Because the original guesstimation was 12. Based on that. And we drank 14. Not too far off. Got slightly unluckier than expected, though. I just realized I have a bunch of bone spikes banked that I still need to dunk, don't I? At 166 bone rate. Because when I did the 200 gather grind, we did bank some more. Oh no, never mind. I did them together. Oh no, it was during the 200 woodcutting grind, I mean. During 200 woodcutting, I was banking some more bone spikes. And while I processed all of them for 200 gather, I haven't actually processed them all from 200 woodcutter. Because there was some amount of gathering done during that. And I never actually processed them for bone right yet. I'm pretty sure it's slightly less than a whole level, but it's more than none. Something I need to do before we start running the passive again at some point. Also, I love how mixed match our colors are right now. We got green legs, yellow body, and a red helm. That's the only problem with training combat. Even after the rework, that's one thing that still won't get fixed. Is whenever you're training combat, the color of your armor just keeps randomly changing based on the drops you get. And unless you're planning to stop combat for a while, it's not even worth recoloring. Because after a few hours of combat, you're just going to completely color swap with all the drops that you get. I wonder if they ever will do anything about that in the future. It's a very, very small issue. But if you like your entire body being a certain color theme, then doing combat is actually really bad for that. Because every few hours, you're going to just completely pellet swap your entire armor set. There we go. Okay, let's see how many upgrades we have. I feel like there's a very disappointing amount here. But there's definitely more than none. Right, let's see, what do we have? Yeah, that's not a lot. Oh, we did get a 169 rapier. What percent was this? Oh, off stream, I also got 4-star legs. Okay, that's huge. We got an average rapier. But yeah, off stream, I got a 4-star leg. This, I think we got on stream, the 169 body. And this, I believe, is also off stream, the 168 helm. Oh, there we go. Leg upgrade, huge. Pure upgrade. Body upgrade, pure upgrade. Helm upgrade. It's a little bit worse against blue, but every enemy we're doing next is not blue, so we're fine. Alright, and then we'll go sell and or do something with these later. But in you go, in you go, in you go. Alright, nice. Okay, I still need to make a 175 weapon out of that later. Let's go get one more weapon, or one more level for now, I guess. Oh wait, do I have a 4? No, this is only 2-star. Because if that was a 3-star, I could try combining it with this and try to make a better one if we get a bone right one. Alright, that's not too bad. So the biggest upgrade was to our legs then. Everything else was pretty small. But the leg upgrade was pretty huge. But I forgot I got that off stream. It was the only 4-star we've gone from Tentacle. 4-star leg upgrade. Alright, now we should be tanky enough to hopefully never need a heal. Oh no, we gotta use the weird looking helm though. Though in all fairness, this one does fit Mines of Attunement a bit. It reminds me of like a mining helm. Almost looks like a hard hat. Even though it's not exactly a hard hat, it kind of looks like one. And now our green legs are now red. And our once yellow body is now not colored at all, I can't even tell. Did it not color it at all or has like a white color? But yeah, the plan off stream after we get 170 is camp these to 175. Use our final Guardian upgrade to go make a 175 two-hand. And then probably do the somewhat AFK. And banking all the stuff we get from them. Until next stream where I believe our main target, once we get back, is going to be probably Goblin. Unless we can get to Metalith. The problem with Metalith is, even at 220, I'm not sure we could take it. So if we were still doing combat, it'd probably be on the Goblin. To such a degree, it might even be worth going out of our way for a mace. Oh no, I really do want to try the Metalith with a 199 two-hand, though. I do honestly feel like at level 199, we could take this Metalith at 30 levels higher than this. As long as we don't need a double heal or more per fight. If we have to single heal literally every fight, I will do that. For how much more EXP that would be. If we can kill that with a single heal every fight. Double heal is where it's pushing it, though. And if it's triple, you might as well just not even be fighting at all. Even double, you probably shouldn't be. But one heal every fight is fine if you're fighting something that much higher than you. Oh yeah, also, by the way, we're finally at the level of the Tentacle. Not sure if I mentioned that. It was kind of implied when we upgraded all of our gear. But, yeah, we are finally the same level as it. So it's finally an even playing field. We started at 160 because that's where our tools were at and everything. But we started at 160 and we're finally now even. And generally soon after you get to this level range is when you'd want to start going to your next enemy. Unless you really want to AFK for the full duration. Which case we could do it until 10 levels above it. Which case you should probably shift back to whatever you were doing. Or to a different enemy. Like the furthest we could ever do this realistically is 179. But realistically by like 173, 178-ish we want to be moving on. I just realized our helmet's colored green. So we got green, nothing, or yellowish, and red. Oh, great hammer. Oh, huge, 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 huge. Huge. We've got a hammer mage item. That's our next weapon upgrade. I already have a guardian piece too, so now we have a guardian and a hammer mage waiting. Guardian will be used for our next two-hand for a 175. And the hammer mage we'll use for, I'm not sure what, but something. Which means I will need to go make the guardian component though. That's fine, we have a lot of it banked. If anything, guardian equipment is actually pretty easy to make now. Now that we did the whole carpentry and gatherer grind, I always mention gather or wood bone rate as being one of the more annoying ones. But we already have the annoying part done. Now we just have to craft. It's still annoying that it uses 2 for everything instead of 1. But everything we need is already banked for it. Even more so than Stonemason. If anything, it's actually harder for me to get a Stonemason item now. Because I have far less Stonemason supplies banked than bone rate. I like the little clashy noise it makes. I think only this two-hand has that exact noise. I feel it makes it sound more impactful. The only weird thing is it makes that noise regardless of what you're fighting. Even if the enemy has nothing that you would really clash against. So if anyone still has any other questions or anyone want me to go over, let me know. This is one of the last few times you'll see me for the next few days. So we'll be going away for a few days. Well, not really away, but house getting some work done to it. Mostly from hurricane damage from several years ago. I might be able to do like one more short stream for like an hour or so tonight. But otherwise, this will be our last stream for a while. For that other stream a little bit later tonight. But we'll be back like Wednesday night or Thursday noon. But otherwise, as soon as we get that half a combat level, we'll probably call it there for now. Still be training, of course, across that entire time. There won't be any streams at that time. This is either our last stream for a few days, or in about 9 hours will be our last stream for a few days. Either or. I should have time tonight to go do it for like an hour. This is one last little hurrah till we go away for a bit. Won't be that long though, but at some point this year I do need to go see family for about a week. Which I normally do around like late June, early July. Also, I hope plane tickets haven't gone up. I think the last time I flied, it was actually less than 100 round trip. I could have sworn I heard Spirit Airlines went out of business. I believe they're still going, because I normally go with them. Because they're so, like, absurdly dirt cheap. They charge you for, like, everything extra that you could ever imagine. But as long as you just don't get anything extra, they're actually really reasonable. A 0? How can he still do that? Come on now. Can't wait till we get minimum hit. Hopefully on the skill tree. Oh yeah, we're finally done with chapter 1's knowledge points. I didn't even realize that till now. We're now moving on to chapter 2 and then chapter 3. I'm probably not going further than that though. Just because I don't want to unlock all the combat ones for chapter 3. Though if I was to, is there an area where it's worth doing post 200? Or we're in a bit of a dead area? Ah, there technically is! Giant bat at 200! Or sorry, giant rat, not bat. Never mind, that doesn't give a good drop. I thought it was bat. No, that's not the one that gives alchemy supply. But I could do that until we could do the other thing. Until we could do the metalith. That might be worth it. It might actually be worth doing there. That's 15 levels that I can't put into something else though. But it's also 15 levels that get progressed really, really well for combat. I'm actually really tempted. I might do it. That might be a waste though. There's just so many other skills I need to be doing AFK activity on, the passive. I don't know, we'll have to see after the Q&A. I definitely would not do that before the Q&A. But after we know what's going to happen to all the knowledge points that are in combat, then I'll probably make that determination. But I won't do it prior, but otherwise that's a really good way to skip to being able to kill Metalith. Because I'm concerned with being able to kill Metaliths at level 200 with a 199 weapon. But killing them at 215 with a 199 weapon, that's a different story. That we could probably do. But 200 with a 199 just seems a little too low. It's not this trip, but next trip we should be at that level. We're getting like, what, 10k each? That's like 20-ish more kills, 26? Somewhere around there. Doing math wrong. It's 8 speed drop right now. 13k. Yes, that's like math. I'm doing math so badly right now. It's like 50-ish of them. 50, 60 or so. But I feel like I'm still doing math wrong. I cannot do math today. Dude, that's way too many. Oh yeah, I'm doing math way wrong. It's like 20 more. 19, 20 more. I think I say that number sounds way too off. Be about 19 more tentacles then. Still amazing how inconsistent your damage range could be. We hit a fire 4, then a fire 54. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle minimum hits down the line. Either through skill tree, through special attacks, or through however they end up doing it. That's a big issue when you have this big of a random number range. Is you can also still hit the small numbers. And anytime you do, it always feels bad. But hopefully it'll add enough minimum hit that won't really matter. How high it's going to go, we don't really know. I'm also curious if they're ever going to scrap the skill tree system or actually go with it. Because now that they're doing it as just one big overarching combat skill tree, how's that going to work when they keep adding 500 every chapter? Because that skill tree is going to become a skill farce by like chapter 10 and still keep going. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Okay, good, he didn't do it. Oh, definitive upgrade from a glove. Nice. 2-star glove for a bigger 2-star glove. So now our most behind piece of gear is our shield, but that's fine. And technically still our helmet glove. Because they're only 2-star, not 3-star. Or higher. But our most behind piece of armor is our shield that we're not even using anyway, so that's fine. Even more of a reason not to go rapier for the toad. Because our shield's really behind and it's not worth going out of our way to go make one. Actually, we haven't needed to do a single shield upgrade yet. Actually, yeah, we did. We did at 83 when we were doing the other grind. But beyond that, we haven't really done any shield upgrades all the way to, Oh, no, that wasn't even a shield upgrade. That was a drop that we got. Never mind. Even that wasn't. Yeah, I don't think we did a single shield upgrade this entire time. We've actually gotten lucky enough that we never need to make our own shield. Unless I'm forgetting one, but I'm pretty sure we didn't this entire time. We kept getting enough 3- and 4-star shields that we never needed one. Because this was a 4-star drop. He's even at level 83. It was the rapier that I made, not the shield. We just made our rapier to be the same level as our shield. Yep, this is our final kill. We'll still finish this inventory, though. But that would be 10 levels then. Where did we start at? I think we were technically 163. Well, 170 was the goal. And now we'll probably go bring him to the Alchemy AFK. Which we're pretty much stuck at for the next, like, 2 weeks. Definitely next week and a half. Then we're probably pivoting over to Stonemason plus Bone Right. I just do want to start getting those off the ground again. I just realized, though, what level Gatherer do I need before I can do the next Bone? 240, that's kind of rough. Plus, I'd probably want to do Red Clover there anyways. We don't get another real Bone until level 280 Gatherer. That is really deep. Luckily, I believe you will get a bunch of supplies for armor from Delver, so you don't have to depend entirely on Gatherer. Because Delver should help fill a lot of the holes as well. Also, I'm not sure if I ever showed what I mean by that. I mentioned it a lot of times, but never. I don't think I've actually ever showed it. But you can actually see them for Chapter 5. We don't know if they're going to go down that route line definitively. But it is technically already in the game now. In the shop. You just can't do anything with them until Chapter 5. But they are already there. And assumably you would also have to dunk them just like normal weapon bones. There would be no reason why that shop would need to have it if you weren't able to dunk them. Alright, final kill, then our final rocks, and I'll go show the bones real quick. Because I always reference them. Well, not always, but I feel like every week recently I've been like referencing them at least once. I'm not sure if I've ever actually showed it on stream. Because there are a bunch of seemingly armor-like fragments for Armor Maker for Bone Right, where you're going to have to dunk them in Mind of Matubin and then make armor out of them in Chapter 5. In which you get all the pieces from Delver. Which means Delver acts a lot like Gatherer, in the sense of how it synergizes together. But yeah, this shop right over here. Actually, while I'm here, I do want to check one other thing. I have yet to do this since our woodcutting grind. How many bone spikes are here? Because I'm probably going to process every last one of them. Hey, no, Krimmy's going for eels. Nice, nice. Assumably he's doing it for his smithing grind. Whoa! 773? Really? Doing 200 woodcutting, we got 773 bone spikes. Only banking like 2 at a time. Really? I did not realize it was that high. What? That's almost 1,000. Like, during our whole other grind, we did 2,805. You're telling me just from woodcutting alone, we got like a fourth of that? Wow. That is way more than I thought we had. That's fine, though. That's good XP. That takes like 3 hours to go process them, though, or 2 hours, whatever it is. That's a solid 2 hours of doing nothing but dunking them later. I think I have 3 hours of Iron Bank, so it's like 5-6 hours between the two. But speaking of dunking, these were the thingies I was talking about. There should be 4 of them here, right? Yeah. So similar to how there's 4 different weapon-related bone spikes, or bone, whatever you want to call them. There's 4 weapon-related ones that you get from Gather from Chapter 2. But then seemingly there's also 4 for all the armors. So here we can see 1 for armor, 2 for armor, 3 for armor, 4 for armor. But these are the little bones that you duct tape to your armor. And it even says it's for armor. And it even says that you get it from a Delver. So you get it from Delver, use it for Armor Maker. And assumably you dunk them for Bone Right XP. Is this the only reason why the shop is probably selling them? Is because eventually you dunk them right over there. In those vats over there. That we're just over at. Same ones that we gotta go put our bone spikes into. And just out of curiosity, I want to see how many suckers we have now. Let's go back to Hopeport. Because I gotta go there anyways for the alchemy. Oh yeah, I could also go show all of our banked alchemy already. They give like 130 of each. That's probably not enough to go all the way to 219, but I didn't want to overshoot it. And that should last me a good week or two. As 130 is 130 hours away from the game. Which is definitely more than a week. But let's go see where they're at right now. First things first, let me grab these. I highly doubt I'll be around away for that long, but just in case. Let me get 11 and 11. So both of these were 130. I grabbed 11 from them. Beyond that, what was the other thing I wanted to go check? It was how many suckers we have now. 644. We did math earlier that we need about 7,000 of these. However, you do a bunch of them post 200. And the other thing to consider is that situation did not assume I would do the AFK pots. Because what will realistically happen is we do this all the way until 267, not 277. Which means realistically we only need like 4,000 or 5,000 of them. Not the original like 7-ish thousand. As we only need to get to this AFK 8% potion. We do not need to get all the way to the plus 80. So that saves us 10 levels that we otherwise would not need to do. But anyways, guys, yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up here for now. We might be back in about 9 hours from now, 8 hours or so, just to do like a quick 1-ish hour stream or so. Just as a last hurrah. Otherwise, this might be our last hurrah. Until we're back at like late Wednesday or normal time Thursday. Whatever one ends up happening. If I do stream on Wednesday, it's going to be really, really late in the day compared to normal. Otherwise, it'll be a Thursday startup. And we'll be back to normal schedule by Thursday then. But the next few days, yeah, probably won't be a stream. Might do one for Monday night or, you know, Sunday into Monday night. But beyond that, we'll be gone for the next 2-3 days. But, oh yeah, the final poll, by the way. Though not much results came from it. After 21 votes, when training skills, do you prefer methods that focus on one at a time or multiple at once? 52% at one at a time and 48% kind of like what we're doing now with multiple at once. Also, you can kind of consider things like raid dens and stuff like that, giving multiple as well in that category. But that could also be considered things like doing Fisherman and Forager simultaneously, doing Gather and Woodcutting simultaneously. Of course, what we were just doing Minefighter and Miner simultaneously. But anyways, but yeah, we'll end it there for now. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, a wonderful week as well, as I might not see you guys till like Wednesday or Thursday, we'll see. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching. Oh, I clicked end poll, not the end stream button. That's kind of funny. All right, now goodbye.